How's everybody at Painters Clubhouse tonight? Victoria Lewis. I'm here tonight to show you my painting of Mr. Happy Frog. I posted the video of him, or the picture of him, earlier today, so you could take a good look at him. But he is the cutest frog that there ever was. And you could do him as a girl or a boy. I put eyelashes on him, so maybe he's a girl. I'm not sure. But anyway, this is Mr. Happy Frog, and we're gonna do a painting of him tonight. I hope all of you all are having a great Sunday afternoon. I hope you've gotten over to Yards R Us and picked up your blanks. Gotten some of those that they're going to be discontinuing because the summer's over and July's coming, and it's going to be Christmas in July, so you need to go get those blanks that won't be available later. Mr. Frog's kind of one of them, but isn't he cute? We'll let a couple more people jump on, and I base coated him. I'm going to show you him already base coated, and I used, for the lily pad, I used the dark green, number 12, for the lily pad. Then for the frog himself, I used Christmas green, which is number 11, for the frog himself. For his stomach, his belly, I used light yellow, number 13. And those are the main colors. Now you could have a brown-eyed frog, or you could have a blue-eyed frog. I wanted a blue-eyed frog. So I put my base coat on of teal, number 7. But I'm going to add to that to make his eyes a little more special. But for my base coats, the water lily is, I did a pink, and I put number 25, light pink. And the other base coat, I'll show you my other sample here. On his polka dots, or his dots, I use number 10, lime green. You could use yellow. You could use a mixture of any other of the green colors, a light green. You could mix white and Christmas green together and get a lighter green. But I wanted to use the lime green on those dots. So those are my base coats that I put on there. First thing I'm going to do is to show you how I did his eyes. So like I said, I base coated with teal, and then I took the sky blue. So I'm going to use the sky blue and make, I'm going to tilt this down so you can see. And I can see some of the comments. I can't see all of them. Get him fixed just so you can see him. Go this way slightly more. Here we go. Now then. So I've got my sky blue, and right along the edge of the pupil, I just put a circle of the sky blue. Let that dry just a little bit. And I want to blend it slightly, so I'm going to take a little bit of my teal, just a touch of the teal, right along the edge. I'm going to blend them together so that sky blue and that teal blend together. blending it while it's wet. Okay, so see how that's blended in? And that needs to dry before you do your black outline. And you can see on his eye, I painted this white, and then I left a little white circle for a highlight in his eye. I left the circle, but you can add a white circle later if you would like. But I blended that sky blue and that teal so that you get a two-color eye. Now on my chartreuse or my lime green dots, you can leave them plain, but I like to add just a little bit more to those dots. So I took the light yellow and I added that, but before the first frog I was looking at, I thought, you know, I want orange dots instead of the yellow dots. So I'm gonna get this one is Shading Yellow, which is number 14, Shading Yellow. And I'm gonna put in the center of each one of these lime dots, I'm gonna put an orange dot. Just to add in. Again, I use the end of my brush to make those dots. You get nice polka dots that way. And if you get too much, like I did right there, just wipe it off. It wipes right off. That's the great thing about this kind of paint, is it just wipes off if you make a mistake. Before it's dry, your base coat isn't messed up at all. So I'm gonna put orange dots in all of my lime green. And I use the end of my brush because you get nice round polka dot that way. Just a little circular motion and you get a nice polka dot. Just put my hand in it. Now I've got the orange dots on there. Now you can see on my finished one, I added extra. Frogs have warts. They have dots everywhere. So I added a lot of extra dots on my frog. But I'm not going to add those until I finish my shading of his shapes. So that's the next thing I'm going to do, is show you how I shaded on all of my shapes to get that three-dimensional, that curved look to them. So I'll put that one aside. I'll get this one that's dry that I won't put my hand in it. And I get a paper plate. And since I did the frog Christmas green, I'm going to take some of the Christmas green and put it on my paper plate. And it doesn't take a lot, maybe 2 spoonfuls, or 2 brushfuls is more than enough for your shading. And then I'm going to take number 12, dark green. I'm going to get just a little bit of it, and I'm going to mix it in with my Christmas green. I want to tone that Christmas green down. You can always use the complement. If you have a color wheel, the color directly across the color wheel, So red's directly across from green on the color wheel. So you can use red to shade if you don't have the dark green, or anytime you don't have a shading color, you can use the complement. Orange is the complement of blue. So you can always add a little bit of orange to blue and it'll shade it. Or a little bit of blue to orange and it's going to shade it. Yellow and violet shade each other. And green and red. Those are your complementary colors. But I got just a little bit of my dark green in with my Christmas green. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go right under his chin. You can see that. Keep having to move that so you can see it. And I feather it out slightly after I get my line. I call that feathering, where you just make little strokes. Then I want to come down his leg. And then this leg is behind this one. So I want my shading to be on the leg that's behind. So I'm going to come over here and start my shading here. And come on down on the foot. This foot is behind the other foot. Then I want just a little shading on this outside of his foot. That gives it that three-dimensional look, that curved look. Doesn't take a lot. Here. And then I'm going to go on the inside of his stomach area. Let my brush get a little bit dry and a little bit hairy on the end and feather that out. I'll move this over so you can see this side where you can see him good. And come right in here, right along that area that's going to be here where his stomach is, and then this back leg. Down here on his foot and feather it out slightly, and then along the edge of this foot, and right here. Okay, now I'm going to come up to his head, and I want to get some shading. We've got a cut line in your wood right there. So you can shade right there, and that'll give his eyes a pop. Shade right along there on both sides. And then I want to shade his cheek. Along the edge of his cheeks. He needs to have those poppy cheeks where they're popping out. And then maybe a little bit right along here on his mouth. Just a tiny bit along the edge of his mouth. Not much. Just a little bit under his lip. Okay? So you can see where I've shaded him just slightly. And if you think some of the shading, I still have some green that doesn't have any dark green in it, you can come back in and right along the edge, if you think you got that shading too much, you take that green, and it has a little bit of a transparency to it if you put it on pretty thin. And so you can shade that in just a little bit by putting some of your green right on top, and it'll show through. If you feel like you got it too heavy or too much. But you want to show a little bit. Okay, so there's my shading. Okay, I'll wash that brush out. Next thing I'm going to show you is what I did on his stomach. I like pattern. I think pattern adds texture. So I just put a squiggly line in his stomach. You could do any kind of texture on that stomach area that you want, but I just did repeating squiggly lines. But I think you can leave his stomach plain if you would like it plain or you don't feel comfortable doing that, but let's put some kind of texture on the other one's stomach. So I'm going to take my light orange, it's number 16, and instead of the squiggly lines on this one, get it where you can see what I'm doing. There we are. That's a little bit better. I'm gonna make some diagonal lines. I've got a liner brush, a small one, and I'm just gonna do some diagonal lines across his stomach. And I'm using the light orange. Now try to keep them about the same width. It's not that crucial if they're not. I'm going to bring these diagonal lines across his stomach in this light orange. You could do this in any color. I just wanted to keep it in the same tone family. And usually I have to redip my brush between times because this brush has fairly short bristles, so it won't go all the way across his stomach in one brush load. Okay, so I've gone all the way across his stomach, that way. So I'm going to put the light orange up. And I'm going to get my shading orange, which is like one shade darker. Shading orange. And I turn the whole piece, depending on whether you're right-handed or left-handed, but it's a little bit easier if you turn the direction you're most able to paint from. And I lay my hand on him so that my hand can rest on my other hand to do lines in the opposite direction. So I don't put my hand in where I was working. And keep your brush pretty straight up and down. Let's see if we're seeing. There we go. Wind chimes going. We got a breeze today. Y'all know I paint out on my patio. It's a nice day for painting outside because got a nice breeze. It's not too hot. Okay. So now you've got a nice plaid for his stomach instead of the little squiggly lines. Just a little bit different look. I painted his cheeks pink, but I'm going to get my shading pink and I'm going to shade that pink with my shading pink so that those cheeks pop out and it looks like they're three-dimensional. I leave a space about the size of a dime. And I can't see your comments, but after video is over, I'll go back through and I'll answer them for you. So if you have a question, just go ahead and ask it, and then I'll come in and I'll answer it the best I can after the video is over. Now to blend that in, I'm going to take my light pink, number 25. And right along that edge, I'm going to blend them together. Just so you don't have that harsh line. And you may like that line, and if you do, that's fine. I just like to blend them a little bit more than that. That's the good thing about painting. There's no right or wrong. You can do it any way you choose, and it's fine. That one's blended. I like that one a little bit better than this one. There we go. That's pretty good. A little more light pink right here. Okay. There we go for his eyes. That's not his eyes, I'm sorry, that's his cheeks. Now on this one, I want to make this one a girl. So I'm going to take my red, I'm going to give it some lips. The other one didn't have any lips, so to speak, but this one's going to have lips. Get that caught in there. I'll have to turn this one upside down so I can see what I'm doing here. And it's going to have a top lip. And a bottom lip. Got lips now. And then when we paint that black line through there, that'll intersect the lips. And I probably will highlight just a little bit above and below with a black line too. Now I'm going to work on these eyes just a little bit more and show you how I did the pupil with my black. I've already painted the white part, and I've painted the, this is white. So the first thing I do is make that circle for that highlight, because I'm just going to leave it. So I do that on both eyes so that you can see where that highlight for that eye is. And you can do it last with white, but sometimes the white does not cover up. Now you can see I got this one a little smaller than that one, so I'm going to have to shorten that one down a little bit. So I got to come back in and make this one a little bit smaller. There we go. Okay. So then you just paint in the rest of that. Now I'm going to put some eyelashes. So I'll start, get it a little heavier and lift up on the brush. Press it down a little bit and then lift up. Press down, lift up. One more. Press down, lift up. So I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I put 5 on that side, so I gotta get 5 on the other side. Now this one has this spot or wart over here. So I want to start right here, press down, lift up, press down, lift up, press down, lift up, press down, lift up. 1, 2, 3, 4, press down, lift up. Okay. So those can dry before I put my lines in. I try to do my cut lines, my black outline. I try to do all of that at one time, and that's the very last thing I do. You can do it any way you choose. You can do one area at a time if you want to. That's strictly personal preference. I just like to do it all at one time. This brush is really a little too small for this, but I already had black on it, so I didn't want to wash the brush. Okay, I'll let that dry just a little bit. That's a good thing about having more than one of them to transfer over back and forth. Okay, we'll work on this lotus flower or water lily, whatever you want to call him. On this one, in the center section, the stamen on a water lily they kind of stick up and they curve a little bit, and then they have a yellow dot at the top. So that's kind of what I was trying to simulate here with these curved lines with the yellow dot at the top. So I'm using my Shading Pink 26, and you could do them in yellow because the stamens are usually yellow, but I wanted them to really pop, so I picked the Shading Pink. And I start in the center so that I get them all going the same direction. And you're going to leave enough room at the top for the top or the head of your stamen. I think that may be called the pistil, I'm not sure. over. We're still going. Come sit down.
I brought you
Oh,
dessert.
she brought me banana pudding and serviceman cookies. Woo-hoo.
I was afraid you wouldn't get it.
I might not get any.
Wesley was
Eating them.
Yeah. So you're still doing it.
Oh yeah,
I didn't mean to come
no.
over.
Oh no. Carrie comes and we talk, and
Oh.
we're real casual about this sort of thing.
Mm.
But now at the top of each one of those, I'm going to put a yellow dot. And again, I use the end of the brush. I don't use my bristles to make those yellow dots at the top. And that makes polka dot. It's easy. Don't have to wash your brush. Just there we go. Now on the sides, I want some rays coming up. So I'm going to get a bigger brush. And I'm going to use this same shading pink. And just start at the outside edge and bring it up. That had a little too much water in it.
I'll put this in the kitchen.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. We had supper earlier and we got Central Texas barbecue, and we got some of their banana pudding. And my grandson, who is 15 and is 6 foot tall and 200 pounds, he likes Central Barbecue's banana pudding. So after we ate, I said, I gotta go do a little live, but you all save me some banana pudding. And my sister-in-law was afraid that I wouldn't get him banana pudding, that he'd eat it all. So she brought me some just in case. So I'll have my dessert after we're finished. All right, so I've got one ray. I'm gonna put another one. And then I'm going to put a third one. Just like that. Now this one is behind the frog, so you have to, it's a little bit hard to think about, but it's the same shape as this, but you're not seeing all of it. So I'm going to make this ray come this direction. So it's going to come over here and stop. And it'll come over here and stop. And over there and stop. And I wanted them to be two color, so you can see on this one I used the light orange and the shading pink. I'm going to take some of the light orange and go between them. So then when I get my black outline where the cut lines are, that will shape that, and then at the same time I'll put some little black lines around my circles. Just like that. So you got just a little bit on each side. I think my lips may be dry enough that I can outline those. Let's see. I'm going to turn him around this way to get the other side. I find it's easier for me to paint from this side than the other side. There we go. So there's his lips. Now, they need a little bit of highlight, don't they? So I could highlight them in pink, probably, rather than white. I could highlight them in white, but I'm going to highlight in pink. So I'm going to take a little bit of my light pink. Highlight them just a little bit. The last thing before we go is your lily pad. You can leave the lily pad solid green if you'd like, but lily pads usually have veins in them. So I took the lime green and I made some veins, I guess you would say, on my lily pad. And just come down in a curve. You can go off the edge if you'd like, and get you some veins in your lily pad. I put this white highlight, but I don't really like that white highlight there. So when you look at it from a distance, it does not do well. So I'm going to take my dark green and I'm going to paint over it because I don't like that white outline right there. So I'm going to take my dark green, number 12. And white, it might even take 2 coats to go over that. May not. Probably will. I'm going to eliminate that white highlight that I put right there because it didn't curve enough I highlighted in white on both sides of the lily pad. I highlighted on his feet in black and white, and then down each leg on both sides, and his cheeks and over the eyebrows. Now I have not highlighted the lotus flower or water lily, whatever you want to call it. And I think it probably needs a highlight. So I'm going to go in with my black. And two things I noticed when I was looking at it from a distance. This line right here, when you saw the pink on the side, it didn't look good. So I'm going to add more black along the edge. You always want to paint these edges because water can get in there if you don't paint them. And so always paint them, and then always paint the back too. I went to a place in Alvin called Dirt Cheap, and it's an outlet for Target actually, and they had this paint which was originally $34.95 for this quart of gray paint, which is what I use for the back, and it ended up being $4.05 with Dirt Cheap's discount. So that's what I use to paint the back of mine. You can use Oops paint from the hardware store. Anytime that I like a dark color, it doesn't matter. Just any kind of paint is fine. I'm going to add a highlight right in here of black just to define this slightly more. I think these lines, these white and black lines that you add on there help define it. There we go. Just an extra piece there. And then on my lily pad, I'm going to come on the side of each one of those lime green, and I'm going to get a line of black, so that helps to define that vein. Okay, see what you think. See how that helps to define those veins a little bit more? So you've got veins in your lily pad. So that's about all of the tips I guess I can give you for Mr. Frog. Let me tilt this up so you can see the finished one totally. There he is. I think he's going to look real cute out in the yard. He'll look good beside a swimming pool. If you've done the flamingos, you can add him in with your flamingos. I can't wait for Christmas in July. That's coming up. It's not going to be long. Can't wait to see what all those new blanks are going to be. We'll get some Christmas stuff started in July, and we'll have that done and be ready when it's time to decorate for Christmas. Pull this up. So, I love the pudding. However, I must pick out the bananas, and if they're a little bit overripe, it's really good. But a lot of the the banana pudding is what I'm talking about. A lot of the places have Jell-O kind of banana pudding, and then they just slice bananas in it and put some Cool Whip on the top of it and put some vanilla wafers. But Central Texas Barbecue cooks their banana pudding, and so it's a cooked pudding, and then they put their bananas in it, and so it's really good. I don't like the Jell-O kind that much. It's okay, but I'd rather not. So if you all have any questions later on, pop on here and I'll try to answer them for you. And until next time, happy painting. Bye-bye.